Hey there, Vinny from Project Frugal. What if I could tell you that this is my retirement? Well, it's not exactly my retirement, but it could be. So stay tuned and find out more. So we found this article on Stuff this morning, stuff.co.nz, link down below in the description. Want a comfy retirement? Better save $755,000. Now this is all in New Zealand dollars, so $755,000, roughly about 500,000 US dollars. A lot of money. Let's dig down a little bit more in the article here. If you want to have a retirement with some choices and you live as a couple in a metropolitan part of New Zealand, you'll need to have saved 755,000 new data shows. Let's scroll down to the good bits, because this is based on a calculation out of a university. One person, no frills metro, so very cheap living. Apparently, with New Zealand Superannuation, which is basically the New Zealand pension scheme, you would be short $318.13 a week. So they're saying in order to live in New Zealand, you need roughly about $680 a week for a single person. Now that's going to include rent, mortgage, all that sort of thing, food, power, utilities, internet, telephone, cars, etc., etc., etc. So quite a lot of money just for one person. Now we're going to go shortly into our budget and what we could realistically achieve, which is technically feasible. However, before we do that, we'll just have a look at our particular scenario here, which is going to be, by the time we reach retirement age, or potentially when we want to retire, is going to be two-person, no frills metro, because we do live in a metropolitan area. So they're saying that we're going to have $191,000 saved in investments. Now, fortunately, we do actually have that, just. But yeah, I mean, that's a no-frills existence. And that's relying on the New Zealand superannuation of $350 for a married couple. That's per person, so that's $700 plus having $191,000 in investments, giving a return for your no-frills metropolitan lifestyle. Pretty steep. Now, if you're a two-person family and you want a choices option in the metropolitan area, according to this article, you're going to have $750,000 plus receive your superannuation or your New Zealand pension scheme, and well, you'll be able to afford that. But that's saying, yeah, it's asking for a lot of money. So I don't know who would actually spend $1,500 a week. So that's two people times $350. That's $700 plus another $865. That's $1,500 a week for a retired couple. Now I don't even earn that much, so I don't know where they get these numbers from. However, that's what they state. These numbers don't really account for inflation, but you can check the article out for yourself. The link is below, as I said before. Now we move on to our budget, and I've stripped this down. This is basically for two people, so I'm not sure where that article was getting its figures from, but yeah, I mean, we could actually live off this. So power bill, $160 a month. Now that is very light for New Zealand, but we do have one advantage. We've got a solar system on the roof, which is a 3 kilowatt solar system, so that's going to help offset some of the power costs. And electricity is only going to go up, it's not going to go down. So that's going to help. It's not going to cover the whole bill, but there we go. So we've broken these down into weekly amounts. Weekly average there, just about $37 for that. Gas, yes, we've got gas hot water. We're talking about $63 on average per month. Now, it's probably actually a little bit higher than that, but we might shop around, see if we can get a better deal somewhere else. Insurance, it's cheaper to pay it annually. We pay $1,700 at the moment, and $33.74 a week, as you can see there. Rates, now this is a big issue in where we live, because rates are currently going up, and forecast by the council to increase rates 7% a year for the next, I think it's 9 or 10 years. So that's going to make a massive increase. Literally, the rates are going to be we're going to be looking at well, at least over $200 a fortnight in the next 9 or 10 years. We do sponsor a child, and that's $10 a week. And we've got warrant and registration for the car, so we've just broken that down into a weekly amount again. Internet and phone, food. Now I have stripped some money off here because we will have to be growing our own food under this budget. This budget is extremely tight. Doctor and dentist, well, that's down to the wire. and petrol for the car. Because if we are hypothetically not doing anything and we want to retire early, with financial independence, retire early, this is the bare bones minimum budget that we can actually do to be able to afford that. $400.03 per week, calculated over a year, that's $20,800. Is that feasible? Well, it would be extremely tight, but this is what we could possibly do in our situation, because we're mortgage free, we have a solar system, we have the potential to grow our own food, and we have no debt. So if you're in that position, that's a good position to be in. And we do have investment savings. So somehow we've got to make $400 at least out of investments. Now, if we go off the 4% rule, you would need $500,000 approximately to generate $400 a week, which would equate to approximately $20,000 a year. Is that feasible? Yes, it is feasible. But $500,000 is a lot of money. But if you start saving and you build up that money, there's no reason why you couldn't actually achieve that sort of saving. And remember, this is in New Zealand. This is not the US. This is not India. Any circumstances could be completely different. The price of housing, the investment returns that you could get. So there's a myriad of factors within this. But take it with a grain of salt. This is our circumstances. This possibly could be done. Now, if we have a look at Mr. Money Mustache, if you haven't checked him out, I recommend you go and check him out. Once again, link down in the description below. Mr. Money Mustache is I think he's Canadian, but he moved to the US, I believe. And he's been doing a blog for at least, I think 2011 when he started, roughly. His idea of living on the smell of an oily rag is somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 30,000 US dollars per year. And he basically cycles wherever he wants to go. He grows vegetables, he lives cheaply, and he makes wise, frugal decisions. And it can be done. Now, obviously, it depends, once again, where you live and what part of the world, if you can do that. But he's got a great lifestyle, and it doesn't cost much to achieve that particular lifestyle. Now, moving on, we said we could hypothetically survive off almost 21,000, just over 20,000, 20,800 a year. Now, when you're on a low income, generally you're going to be paying less tax. So we have incorporated the tax into these figures as well. The government of New Zealand on the 7th of June released a rates rebate specified amounts order 2022. And basically it puts a threshold on your local taxes, taxes that go to the council. Now, I'm not sure what it's called in other parts of the world, probably the council, who knows. You can claim back a maximum of $700. Now, on our previous budget here, we'll just go and have a look. We've got the rates here. We pay roughly $3,068. It's probably gone up already. I might need to double check on those calculations. If we went over to this government website here, once again, link down in the description, we can calculate how much money we potentially could save off this. So if we said we were paying, let's say, I think $3,100, and we go on to the next question, how many dependents do you have? Well, hopefully there's going to be none, so let's go on to the next question. And, well, very modest income, right? Less than $38,000 a year, maybe that's the threshold there. Let's show the estimate. So you could get a rebate of $700. So if you're paying $3,100 in this example, and you get $700 back, well, that's $700 you've saved, and your council taxes, your local taxes, whatever you want to call them, your housing tax, $700 off. Good deal. And if we have a look at the tax rates for New Zealanders, for each dollar of income that you earn up to $14,000, the government will kindly tax you 10.5%. Very generous of them. If you earn between $14,000, this is all in New Zealand dollars, and $48,000, they'll tax you at 17.5%. And if you're a reasonably high income earner, earning over $48,000, I wouldn't call that a high income in New Zealand, you get taxed at 30%. So that's a third of your money gone, and so on and so on. So the government has recently, not so long back, introduced this particular tax here, 39% if you're a high income earner earning over $180,000. But you've got to pay for the schools, you've got to pay for healthcare, you've got to pay for the police, a myriad of other things. It's all got to come from somewhere, so the taxpayer puts the bill. So now we're going on to How Rich Am I? Let's click on this link here. howrichamI.givingwhatwecan.org/howrichamI. Link down in the description below. So we'll change our country of origin to New Zealand. go up here into New Zealand. We're going to change our income to, let's say, $20,000. Very approximate numbers these. And we're going to say that there's 2 adults living in the household with no children. Let's go and calculate this. So as you can see, people richer than you, quarter of the global population, and people you're richer than 75% of the world population. So according to this, based on New Zealand dollars, the median income around the world is less than $3,000. So that's the very middle amount. Yeah, that's not very much at all. So my $20,000, which is peanuts for the cost of living in New Zealand, is a fortune for some people. There we go. If you're making $20,000 in New Zealand and you've got a mortgage-free house, you've got a solar system, and you've got a garden, and you minimize your expenses to the max, strip every bill down as far as you can go. We don't have Sky TV, which is cable TV if you're in the US. We don't have any of that. Yes, we do have internet. Yes, it is unlimited. Yes, it is fast, and it's great. And there's some sacrifices that you can do without, such as cable TV, because we don't need it. And there we go. Based on those numbers, you could be in the top 25% of world earners, even on this modest amount. So, yeah, you don't really want to be living in a slum like this, but hey, you'd still be better off than most of the people on the planet. And finally, if you're over 65 or 65 or older and living in New Zealand, you're entitled, under certain circumstances, i.e. you've got to be living in New Zealand for at least 10 years, if you're from overseas, or living here for 20 years during your life, you're entitled to New Zealand superannuation, which is $350 if you're part of a married or de facto couple. That's per person of each person who's 65 or older. So double that, you're looking at $700. Now, if you're single, living alone, or living with others, the money is a bit more than the $350, but it's not substantially more, but it is more. In our circumstance, we could potentially have $700 plus the investment money, and if we can rack up $400 in investments per week, i.e. the roughly $20,000, save some money from the rates rebate, potentially. Well, I don't know if that would actually work out in that scenario. It might do, we'd have to recalculate it then. Save some money from that. Yeah, just live as frugally as possible, carry on with the gardening, grow some vegetables, grow some fruit, do some deals with people, maybe some bartering or something like that. You can get your costs right down, and that's more than enough money that we probably wouldn't know ourselves, because at that point we wouldn't be investing. We've done the investing. We'd have a whole swag of money. We could actually go out for dinner. Wow. And also, because we do donate some money, we do, well, here in New Zealand, you're entitled to 33% of the money back, so they'll pay it back. So if you're sponsoring a child or you're donating to a church, you potentially at the end of the financial year you'll get 33% back. So the big question is, could we retire? Not yet. Could we retire in the next few years? Well, if we're prepared to live extremely frugally, yes. And it might take, well, by my calculations, at least 2 years, up to 6 years, and then hypothetically, we might have enough invested that we can earn that $20,000, which is not a lot of money. Granted, it's not a lot of money. But we can do some side hustles, we could do something else, we could work part-time. Well, there you have it. Hopefully, this could be a reality. Now, it's going to take a lot of planning, a lot of dedication. It's definitely going to require a frugal mindset, but it can be done. Hope you learnt something out of this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more, and we'll give you some more content just like this. Catch you later.